So I'm probably going to expand your vocabulary a little bit here, because it's certainly expanded mine. Symbiosis covers relationships which are both mutually beneficial, which is what we've just described, but also non-mutually beneficial relationships. So in this set, you've got losers. So the first new term, probably, is something called mutualism. And mutualism is the way that two organisms of different species exist in a relationship in which each individual benefits. Cooperation is the way two organisms of the same species exist in a relationship in which each individual benefits. Now for the bad ones. Interspecific competition. So this is a relationship in which each species experiences reduced fitness. So this might be where you've got a tiger, sees an elephant, and goes, I'm hungry, I'm going to need to have that thing, and it attacks the elephant, and the elephant gets lacerated, and in defending itself, it crushes the tiger, and they both limp off, thinking that they'll not do that again next time. And then finally, we've got something called parasitism, or exploitation, in which one species benefits at the expense of the other. So, here's a very simple diagram to illustrate. On your left, we've got the flora, and on the right, we've got the fauna. So this is the fauna and the flora, and the fauna inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, and the flora, through photosynthesis, absorb CO2 and emit or excrete oxygen. So this would be a very simplistic diagram to demonstrate a mutualistic relationship. This is an example of mutualism. So what's our relationship with these corporations? It's a bit more complicated, but nevertheless it's not too complicated. Here, on your right, these are workers. And over here, on the left-hand side, these are consumers. So if we start with the workers perform work for the corporation, which in turn emits goods and services made available to consumers who access these goods and services through paying for them, which generates a revenue stream which goes into the corporation that they use to pay the wages of the workers. So it's very straightforward. Nothing complex or controversial about that. So, if we look at this stream, the revenue stream, what corporations try and do is to maximise the revenue stream. So they try and charge top dollar, top price, for the goods and services that they supply. And that produces an income. Now, because wages usually form the biggest component of any cost to any corporation, time immemorial, wages have been compressed and pressed down, and there's constant pressure on wages. And the difference between the revenue and the wages is profit, essentially, for this thing. Now, if we look at the other side of it, if we look at the work and the goods and services cycle, what we've got here is workers actually put in a hell of a lot more effort than goes into just producing goods and services. If you think about all the goodwill, all the overtime, the unpaid overtime, you think about all the running around that they do for these corporations, we bend over backwards to do a good job and to be seen to do a good job within these corporations. And in return, these goods and services get emitted. But if you think about it, if you've ever bought a vacuum cleaner, then you buy this thing and 3 years and 1 week later it breaks. So what they're actually providing for us is the absolute bare minimum that they can get away with. So they make out like bandits via this route, and they make out like bandits via this route. Now just think about it. These workers are consumers. They are the consumers. So what's actually happening here is we're doing the work to produce goods and services that we consume. We pay over good money for those goods and services, and that pays our wages. So what exactly does this thing do? Well, it doesn't do bloody much, does it? We're doing all the work, and it's making out like a bandit, both ways. So this, folks, this is a parasite. It's exploiting us. This is an exploitative relationship, and you knew that. You knew that we were being exploited by these corporations. So what this does is, this provides us, it's not slam dunk, but it's a little bit more confirmation of the fact that, in fact, what we are dealing with here are our species, different species. And by looking at it through the lens of symbiosis, you get confirmatory information.